What's up YouTube, Capital G here, talking about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains era and why I don't think it's going to be anything like the Arc V era and why that might not actually necessarily be a bad thing. So for starters, whether you like the Arc V era, whether you didn't like it, the tempo of the game, how the power creep naturally progressed, the formats, etc., I think a lot of us love or hate the Arc V era have to at least look at the game and look how much variety there was amongst the mechanics. I mean, it really doesn't matter whether you were an Exceed fan, a Fusion fan, whether you like rituals or synchros the most. Konami basically gave you a steady supply of archetypes to play, and this is really surprising because you guys know historically rituals have been treated like shit, and for them to get something like Necroz, which may be the best archetype in the entire Arc V era, that is pretty damn impressive. But when I think of the next era of Yu-Gi-Oh! That we're about to enter in August, I don't think that we're going to get this type of variety. And by the way, don't shoot the messenger. I don't want a lot of people saying, oh my goodness, Cap, F you and F Link monsters, because I feel like I'm kind of just giving some bad news, but I really don't think it's as bad as people think it's going to be. I think that Vrains in its era is going to be a lot similar to Zexal. If you guys have ever watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, or if you guys even played during the Zexal era, you guys know that everything was just Exceed was just shoved down our damn throats. And honestly, even if you watch the anime, it's almost like the other mechanics didn't even exist. I haven't seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, but from what I've heard, like there's not even a synchro actually shown in a duel until like 40 episodes into the show. And if you guys just look over the entire Zexal era, I mean, every high tier deck, like every deck that was like tier 1 from beginning to end, it was all Exceed based. I mean, you can start at the beginning with Dino, Rabbit, Insectors, and Windups. You move to the middle of the era with like Dragon Rulers and Prophecy. Yes, Prophecy is technically an Exceed deck. No one uses the Exceeds because they're not that good, but it's still an Exceed deck. Even if you move towards like the latter portions of like the Zexal era with like Fire Fist and Water, and then you have like Geargia, Sylvans, Boojins, hell, even Infernity, which I guess you could kind of consider the one exception to the rule. It's like a synchro deck technically, but no one even ran any synchro cards in it. When Infernity were played, when Hat was big and all of that Soul Charge nonsense was going on, everybody just ran the Exceed version. It was basically a brand new version of an old deck built from the ground up. And the point that I'm trying to make is when Konami really wants to push a new mechanic, they have ways of just drowning out and kind of ignoring the other mechanics, and I kind of feel that that's where we're heading. And I think that a lot of people are probably going to be saying at this point of the video, Cap G, you are so wrong. You're so far off base here. You are so dumb. If Konami gave us pendulums and they still were able to support all the other mechanics evenly, then why would it be different now that they're just adding a new mechanic into the game? And if you have seen the anime, you already know where I'm going with this. But for anybody who hasn't actually seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, just know that Yuya and the rest of the Lancers, those are kind of like the main heroes in the show, they actually travel to the Exceed dimension, Heartland. They travel to the Fusion dimension, the Academia, and then they travel to the Synchro dimension as well, New Domino City. So the characters actually go to these different places in the show. And what do you think all the people that they meet there, or the people who are from those different dimensions, what do you think they play? Like the characters from the Fusion dimension all play Fusion decks. The characters from Heartland, they all play Exceed decks, and you know, so on and so on. So like, to be honest, the main reason that I think that this era was so diverse and why we saw all the mechanics evenly kind of supported was because of the continuity of the anime. And it all kind of wraps up with Zark and how he created it and yada yada yada. I don't want to end up spoiling the show, but just know that the reason that it was so diverse these last 3 years is because really the anime continuity kind of demanded it. For starters, I don't think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is going to take place in the same universe as Arc V, and honestly, if it did, all it would do is just completely shatter and ruin the storyline of Arc V, because then there would just be so many people like myself asking, wait a minute, why didn't they go to the Link dimension? Why wasn't there a Link version of Yuya? Why didn't Zark, summon like a Link dimensional dragon? There'd be so many fucking plot holes. It would completely ruin the story of Arc V, so Konami's not going to have the show in the same universe, and honestly, it's kind of of good for them because it basically allows them to ignore everything that they did in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Art V anime scot-free and never have to bring it up again. And I think that if you really look at the Link Summon as a whole and what it's doing for the game, the point of the Link Summon is pretty much to try and expand and open up the rest of your monster zones and, you know, create obviously all these little mini games that I'm really not going to talk about. But the primary point of Link Summoning is to, under the new rules, I should say, is to basically make it so that you can expand upon your field, which means that Link Summons are going to be kind of at the center of everything. Even older decks that we talked about where people have said, I can't play this deck anymore because I won't be able to spam 3 synchros, etc., etc. Decks like those are going to have to start using Link Summoning or I guess just die. But the thing about it is, and the silver lining that I don't think that a lot of people have identified is, do you guys realize how easy it's going to be for Konami to support older archetypes by simply just giving them Link monsters? If you just for some reason hate Link monsters and you just can't stand them, you never want to play them, then I guess maybe you are just a little shit out of luck. But like, I'll take me personally, right? So everybody knows I love Lunar Lights, and you know, double Leo Dancer is generally enough to get you home. It's you know, 14,000 damage, you get like 4 attacks, she's big as fuck. It's generally your win condition when you're playing the deck. And you know, I still haven't been able to figure out a way how to make double Leo Dancer under the new rules. But what if Konami said, okay, we understand that your deck has basically kind of been crippled because now you can only summon 1 Leo Dancer. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a new Lunar Light and we're gonna make it a Link monster, and it requires, you know, any 2 Lunar Light monsters, and it expands your field, and boom, now you can do your double Leo Dancer. Or maybe this new Link monster is as strong as a Leo Dancer, and you only need 1 of her plus a Leo Dancer, and you're basically the same place as as you were pre the new rules and the new mechanic and stuff. I don't think that a lot of people really care how their deck, you know, is able to explode and do its plays as long as it's still able to do them. And it's like, do you really think that I care if I'm killing you with a Lunar Light Link monster plus a Leo Dancer as opposed to killing you with 2 Leo Dancers? Like, not really. As long as I'm killing you with Lunar Lights, I'm perfectly content and I'm perfectly fine with that. And you can look to other examples that Konami has done in the past. Basically, like Six Samurai and Lightsworn are prime examples. These are super old decks. They're both from GX, and when they came out, they had absolutely no extra deck monsters. And let's just say Six Samurai, for example, right? So you look at Storm of Ragnarok, what did Konami do? They gave Six Samurai a bunch of support, they gave it tuners, they gave it a synchro. It becomes one of the best decks in the game, wins some YCSs. Fast forward a little bit after that, they give Six Samurai a structure deck, and then they are able to give it an XC. Even though the XC kind of sucked, that's not the point. The point is Konami took a really old archetype and they modernized it twice, and then they basically have done the same thing with Lightsworn. They gave Lightsworn tuners, and then they gave Lightsworn Michael. Fast forward a little bit, and they gave Lightsworn Minerva and XC. So it's like, if they're able to do that with multiple archetypes from the past, I don't really understand why it's a big deal if they just start giving Link monsters to kind of all the older archetypes. Like, these archetypes that won't be able to kind of function that well. Maybe a deck like, you know, Karakuri is a good example. That's a deck that loves to spam its synchros on the field, but under the new rules, that's probably not that possible. And, you know, I'm not sure how generic the Link monsters are going to be. So maybe Konami decides, okay, well, let's just give you guys a Link monster and make it pretty easy for you guys. Let's just give you a Link monster that says, you know, 1 monster plus 1 Karakuri monster. Bam, you've got your Link monster. You're able to go into your spam game and do basically all the things that you wanted to do before we got the new rules and whatnot. So I think that overall, the Vrains Era is going to be very similar to Zexal. I honestly think, and don't hate me again because I say this, I think that probably 90% of the extra deck monsters that we're going to get in the next 12 sets, I think they're going to kind of be Link monsters. I'm not saying that we won't get any Fusion, Synchro, and XCs, because there'll probably be a Dual Terminal 4, and you guys know Dual Terminals pretty much has like all the mechanics. I mean, look at Dual Terminal 3. You had Shadows and fucking Yang Zings and Serteller Knights and Necros and all of that shit in there. I think that we'll probably still see these other mechanics. It's just we won't probably see them at this rate. Like, I don't think that we're going to get like 6 fusion decks in the next year. Like, we probably are going to get maybe 2 good fusion decks. Maybe we might get 1 good synchro deck in the next 3 years, maybe 1 or 2 good XC decks, and I think everything else is just going to pretty much be Link summoning, or at least you're just going to see Link summoning have an obvious like impact on the game. But I don't really need to go into that because that one's kind of just obvious. So you guys let me know what you think. Do you guys think that I'm wrong? This is just my opinion, and I think it honestly makes the most sense for Konami. If Konami sees archetypes that are just completely dead and they can't work anymore, then all they have to do is just give them a Link monster, and it's like, bam, you've basically just kind of put a band-aid on it. You fix the archetype that easily. So you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching as always, and subscribe if you have not already. And you know, I probably should have put this in the video because I don't want people to get down on this video or on the game and be like, oh man, it's just going to be Link this, Link everything. The thing about it is, when you look at like the Zexal era, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I fucking loved it. I think it's the second best Yu-Gi-Oh era, and I think that it was so much fun. I'm not talking about the anime, I'm just talking about the game itself. Like, Zexal was so much fun, man. And I never actually went to an event or was playing on like, you know, Dueling Network and ever thought, oh man, this sucks. Why does everything have to be XC? Like, that never once even crossed my mind. I was just having too much fun because you're going to find archetypes that you're going to like. Like, it doesn't really matter if the game is 99% Link or 99% XC. Like, you're going to find archetypes. Like, I found Insectors and I loved it. I found Boojins and I loved it. I found Dino Rabbit and I really liked that too. It never actually crossed my mind, man, this sucks. I can't play Rituals. I can't play Synchros. I can't play Fusions. Like, I don't know why, but I honestly didn't care. I think I was just having too much fun, and I think that Konami could easily duplicate this with the Vrains Era. So you guys let me know.